mic to you.
I call to order the meeting of the governing board for the Scottsdale Unified School District. It is Tuesday, April 7th, 2020, and the time is 5:08 p.m. Due to the COVID-19 virus, SUSD is having their special meeting on Microsoft Teams, and each member is on their computer. The meeting is being streamed as always through YouTube. Today, all voting will take place with an individual roll call. I will have a roll call starting with Board Member Greenberg. Jan Michael Greenberg?
Jan Michael Greenberg, here.
Yeah, or you can say present or here.
Present.
Sandy Kravitz?
Present.
Barbara Perlberg?
Present.
Patty Beckman?
Present.
And Allison Beckham. All 5 governing board members are present and we have a quorum. Vice President Beckman, would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Yes. I pledge allegiance
To the
to
flag
the flag
of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
under God,
Indivisible.
with
Liberty
liberty
and
and justice for all. Thank you. Do I have any changes to the agenda? All right, do I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
So moved.
So moved.
Moved by Board Member Kravitz. Do I have a second?
Second.
Board Member Greenberg seconds. So I will now, as I had mentioned, each have an individual roll call, and please just say yay or nay when your name is called. Jan Michael Greenberg,
Yay.
Sandy Kravitz,
Yay.
Barbara Perlberg,
Yay.
Vice President Patty Beckman,
Yay.
and Allison Beckham. Yay. Motion carries 5-0. Due to the facilities closure on online learning and the governor's stay-at-home order, Dr. Creekard will be giving a superintendent's comments at this special meeting. Dr. Creekard, your comments?
Thank you, President Beckham, members of the board. We thought that it would be a good idea to start giving a regular report on where we are. So I wanted to start this superintendent's comments with a little bit of the history, but mostly where we are and what we are doing in the schools with our online learning. So first of all, the closure and move to online. I wanted to reference a report that I read today from an educational leadership online news service called Newsella, and this was on the 4 key drivers for distance learning. And I think it's important for us to know what people are saying nationally. So of those 4, they talk about, first of all, there are 2 having to do with infrastructure and training. So the first key driver is that you have delivery platforms and reliable internet. And I looked back at the meeting that we held in mid to late March, as we were just beginning to think about what would happen if the coronavirus grew and schools were closed. And I asked at that meeting of the incident management team, I asked Debbie Spalding, our chief systems officer, do we have the bandwidth to put 23,000 students online at the same time? And she said yes. And from there, we started talking about the platforms and the training. But the work that has been done in Scottsdale Unified School District over the years to improve and grow the bandwidth, as well as the number of devices that we have, has been incredibly important to this process. The second key driver is training and professional development. And I look at the work that was done in our teaching and learning staff and with principals and other administrators to bring the training to our teachers in a matter of a few days, teachers and administrators, so that we were able to deliver. It was an incredible feat. A couple of the instructional technology coaches were teaching classes to teachers, 2-hour-long classes from 8 in the morning until 8 at night at least. And what a great job they did, because on Monday, the 23rd, as we had hoped, we started with online instruction. Then the third key driver is instructional content. And they ask that people should have flexible instructional content. And what that means is that more and more, we have taken the time to purchase online sources for our adoption and to partner with important organizations like Discovery Ed, so that we can have digital classroom in our regular brick and mortar classrooms, but certainly when we made this move to all online. And then the fourth is community, a strong and supportive community of school leaders and parents. And there has certainly been a great partnership among the leaders of our schools and our district office leaders, and with strong support from the governing board, and an overall support of what we have done by the many, many parents of our students. So that was just kind of gave us an overall view of what is being said on a national basis. So when we look at that, when we talk about the support, that remember in the logistics now, we have now gone over 2,800 devices that we have loaned out to families in our district, and over 450 hotspots. The instruction, on the instruction side, we said in the first week we would do a soft rollout with, after that, progressive academic focus. And that soft rollout meant that we wanted teachers and the students to be familiar with the technology, the different way of learning, and also to develop routines for themselves so they would get into the day-by-day process and be able to learn better and focus on their learning. We also made a strong, tough decision. According to some, I really believe not to any of us, but that our primary focus is to educate, and that we would continue to educate. We would prepare our students for their next year while still taking care of individual needs that students have. That, I think, is an important point. We had to balance high expectations and the social emotional needs of our students. And so that's a constant issue that we have been talking with principals with, and that we've communicated to teachers. So we started out with asking all teachers to contact their students on the Friday before, on March 20th, before our rollout began the following Monday. We also stated in our expectations that every teacher would post office hours and be available to parents and to students as needed in the office hours. And I know there have been many contacts as well at other times. So I have a couple of examples of things that have been written that I think are important to see some of the things that have been done in our schools. The first one, I think you'll love this. It's a first grade schedule that was sent to all the students, all the first grade students at Tavan. And just to read you the first couple of lines. So it says, a bullet point, first thing, wake up. Keep wake up time consistent Monday to Friday. Secondly, have breakfast. Wash those hands. Even better to have your child help make breakfast and have him or her put away dishes, cereal, milk plates, etc. 3, get dressed and brush teeth. Good time to work on personal grooming, hygiene skills like flossing, brushing, braiding, doing hair, washing face, etc. Number 4, academic school time number 1, 20 to 30 minutes. After that, specials, and so forth. That was a great way for teachers to connect with their first graders, giving them those lifelong lessons as well as the academic lessons. Secondly, we worked with principals at the various levels to set out expectations. The elementary expectations for the first week included all teachers, content, special education, special areas, all teachers are expected to have online contact with students Monday through Friday. 60-minute office hours online to clarify content and provide question and answers. Collaborative expectations with the PLCs. Week 1, develop and deliver one interdisciplinary lesson per day. Week 1, teachers will collect evidence of learning per student with teacher feedback submitted by the end of the week. Beginning of the second week, we moved on to more expectations than that one, and actually specifically number of lessons in math, English language arts, science, and social studies. At the middle school, the principals came together with a schedule that had the teachers teaching 2 subjects at a time, the math and science on Monday and Wednesday, and the social studies and English language arts on Tuesday and Thursday, with Friday set aside for social emotional lessons and contact with people. I want to read you something that David Perninsky, Dr. Perninsky, the principal at Tonalea K-8, wrote to me. And that's in part of his email. He said, our parents and students have been hit hard by everything that is going on with COVID, jobs, the economy, etc. Our crisis response team continues to lead with compassion and help parents and kids navigate. I can't say enough about the fast and effective transition the teachers have made for our kids online. Parents have given all positive feedback and are very appreciative. We continue to follow our protocols to reach children who have not re-engaged after break and get tech to those in need. That's one of the areas. Chris Osmussen, principal at Mojave Middle School, asked his assistant principal, Chris Tyndall, who has a 7th grade student, what's the day like? And she writes, students enjoy waking up later than they normally would for school. While still in their pajamas, they then jump online to complete their coursework. Students are enjoying getting their work done on their own time. They also love connecting with teachers and friends via video conference. They're happy to know that their teachers are there to help them and have a positive attitude about this new way of learning. Students are truly now embracing a growth mindset and are comforted knowing that their teachers are doing the same. The students I reached out to run through their class schedule every day and turn in assignments due that day. Jump into Zoom office hours if they need help. Some have schedules they follow, others do not. After completing coursework, it seems technology is the go-to, obviously, for social interaction and entertainment. Playing video games with friends, making and watching TikToks, and finding new shows to binge fill afternoons and evenings. All students say they miss school, but are quickly getting accustomed to the new routine. Starting the second week at the middle school, the principals set out the expectations that teachers started with a review of the essential first through third quarter standards, and now starting work 3, they should be introducing new material that would normally be covered during the fourth quarter. Lessons for the day should be posted no later than 8 a.m. Lessons will include checks for understanding. At the high school level, the students, and for the most part at the middle school as well, are all using Google Classroom. And so teachers made up their classroom lists, and that any student on that list can watch those Google Classroom sessions at any time, including the principals. So a number of principals have asked teachers to put their name, the principal's name, on their classroom list so the principals can see what the lessons are and what the students are doing. At the high school level, that is also true, although there are probably more people using Microsoft Teams than at the other levels. Amy Palatucci wrote to me, and this deals with this balance of high expectations and the other social and emotional needs that students have. She writes, at Coronado, we have created virtual systems so teachers can refer students who need support. Our nurse created her own Google Classroom to keep in touch with the students she supports throughout the year. Our social worker is running virtual groups and checking in on students daily. The guidance counselors are checking in on students daily. She also created a Remind group to help students be connected. Debbie Spalding was wonderful and left me with extra laptops and hotspots when I asked. We have had many students come individually if they could not make it to the large checkouts. We also worked with our SRO to deliver needed items to students. I believe we are great with technology. I still have laptops and hotspots at Coronado for students who might need them. Our staff has been amazing, keeping in touch with students and referring them to our support team when they have a need. The social worker, SRO, and I are working daily to get students whatever they need. That's an indication of how extensive this is. In the next arena of thinking about this idea of whether or not we were going to just allow students to use their third quarter grade, as many districts have around the state, and we said we want to move forward through fourth quarter standards as much as we can. We understand that that's the goal and may not be achieved, but we certainly want to strive to that. We don't want the goal to be for students to be comfortable with the grade they have at the end of the third quarter. We want students to continue to learn and grow. I've received many emails on both sides of that issue. More, I believe, that are supporting what we've done. Here's an example from a parent at Desert Mountain High School. I wanted to reach out, written to Dr. Hirsch. I wanted to reach out and tell you how much I appreciate the work that the teachers, administrators, nutrition workers, and any SUSD employees that I'm accidentally leaving out are doing at Desert Mountain and the entire district. Your emails, robocalls, and online posts are always timely and informative. I have 2 boys that attend SUSD schools. I also have 2 boys that attend a neighboring school district. The difference in the approach to learning in the COVID-19 world between the 2 districts is drastically different. They are allowing the kids to keep their third quarter grades if they are satisfied with them. If they want to raise their grade, they can do the fourth quarter work. Their grades will not be decreased if they don't do the work. This is such a disservice to the children of that district. They will be so far behind when they start school next year. Also have just was noticed today that both the Scottsdale Progress and the Scottsdale Independent are doing articles on what we have done, and a couple of quotes that was sent to me parent quoted Brittany Olson, whose 7-year-old son attends Navajo Elementary, praised effort by the district and school to make the transition to home learning as seamless as possible. So far, our experience has been great, she said. The Scottsdale Independent wrote an SUSD parent perspective. Quote, knowing this is a new model for everyone, they're giving the student time to acclimate to the online learning system. I have to say, it's been really good for my girls. It was Mrs. Peterson, according to the paper. It has been an incredible feat by so many people to get us to this point. And we are still learning. We're still making decisions based on feedback from principals and teachers and students. We continue to meet weekly with the Student Advisory Board, and the issues are always, how's it going this week? What are some things we can do? How can we help you? What are you worried about? All of those kinds of things, and we are working on issues with the students as well as the staff members. But I believe that what we have done as a whole group, the board leadership, the administration, the teachers, all the support staff who've been so important to this, have a lot of which to be proud. So I want to thank you and all of the employees and families who are trying to make the best out of a very difficult situation. We educate and take care of our students as best we can. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kriegard, for that comprehensive outline of what SUSD has been doing for the past 4 weeks. I hope you and your leadership teams and all of the educators and staff know that your work, your efforts, focus on learning, and personal student contact are greatly appreciated. And on behalf of the governing board, I want to also thank our SUSD students who have transitioned to remote online learning during this very difficult time. We hope that you and your loved ones are healthy and you're abiding by the CDC medical guidelines for the COVID-19. We look forward to a time, hopefully in the near future, when we can reconnect on a direct level. I also want to have the governing board, and I recognize our seniors and want to thank you for your leadership and role modeling for your younger siblings and community members. I believe we've probably had some time to reflect upon how important our K through 12 education is to each and every one of us, our families, and our community, and specifically understanding how science interacts and improves our daily lives. So please know, students, that we're thinking of you every single day and wish you safety and health. So with that, we will move on to our information and discussion items. So we'll move on to discussion item A, which is the Navajo Elementary School Fire Restoration Update. So Dennis Rayler will be presenting. Dr. Kriegard, do you have any comments?
No, thank you. I was just going to say that Dennis is here. He is part of this meeting, but he also has a video to show and some data to go over with you. So with that, I would introduce Mr. Dennis Rayler.
Good evening, President Beckham, members of the board, Dr. Kriegard. This is certainly a very different time. I'm not sure what to do with my hands. Usually they're on the podium, so we're going to try and work through this. We were supposed to, on April 18th, have an open house at Navajo. As this started to unfold and we weren't able to have these group meetings and these different activities, I thought it might be appropriate for us to go to Navajo and do a short video. Keep in mind, I'm not an actor, neither is Mr. Patzloff, but if we could roll that video, guys in the booth. Hello, Navajo Buffalo. Buffaloes. This is Dennis Railer, Director of Building Services for Scottsdale Schools. I thought we'd take the opportunity today to walk through your campus and show you what we've been doing. I know it's hard being at home and away from your school and your teachers and probably your principal too, but I'd like to show you around. Follow me. This is the new front lobby, nice and secure. Probably hard to even recognize it. Got rid of that old curtain wall. Looks wonderful. Inside the front office where all the action happens. Mr. Patzloff's office.
Oh, hey, how we doing, Dennis?
Hey, Matt, how you doing?
Good. Thanks for coming by to check out all the awesome progress going on here at Navajo. Can't wait to show this to the Navajo community and all the boys and girls when school starts back up in August for all the great things we have going on here.
Well, hey, Matt, we were just walking through. You want to come along and we'll show them all the new stuff from the school?
Sounds like a plan. Let's do it.
Now let's take a little detour. I think we'll go through the nurse's office because even that's seen some significant change. Everything's not quite set up yet. All of this change in our world has caused us some delays, but the building itself is ready to go. Just need to get the furniture in here. Save that old mural. Let's go take a look at the art room. All the lights come on automatically. All new windows. What a great art room. Polished the floors. The digital displays aren't quite ready yet, but those will go in here in the next month or so.
It's a great setup for a great campus. We're really excited to get our students here and get them learning in this art studio. You'll see that we got all school color matching chairs. So for the entire campus, we have new high density here, red chairs with red boots on the bottom. And then for all of our core teachers, we got a standard teacher setup here with teacher desk, teacher chair, teaching podium, and file cabinet. All the staff was here about a month ago, and they're very excited to see all the progress and to get working here on our home on Granite Reef and Camelback.
All right.
Let's go check out a kindergarten room.
One thing you'll note, each of the hallways has its own color. So as you walk through the campus, for parents that are new, kids that are new, you're down the red hall or maybe the purple hall. And it'll be easy to identify where you need to go.
Yeah. So here's a kindergarten classroom. So we're really excited for this setup, and I worked with all of our grade level teams. The kinder teachers really wanted the red tabletops, so we have red tables for all the kindergarten students. And then as Dennis shared, this is the red hallway, so we'll be doing some wayfindings with different colors in the hallway, and the goal is to get some really neat quotes or stencils with inspirational sayings. But then you'll see red splotches on the carpet, but it's a good chunk of gray throughout the school, and different colors blend in. And then every classroom has the awesome gray tone millwork put in. And then in the kinder rooms, we're very excited to have bathrooms. We've never had bathrooms in the rooms here. So really excited for every kindergarten classroom to have their own bathroom.
One of the things that most people don't see is kind of behind the scenes, but we put in all new mechanical equipment. So the air conditioning, the heating and cooling will be perfect as you start the new year. Okay, how about if we go check out one of the new collaboration spaces?
Yeah, let's go.
Here we are. This is what grade level?
Our 4th, 5th grade hallway.
And you can see that we've got purple accents in the carpet here. And this is one of the collaboration spaces.
So Navajo, as you guys know, is a STEAM-focused school, so we're really excited to come up with this new design called a co-lab. So here we have teachers' classrooms on both sides with windows going through, more creative, free-thinking type spaces, maybe like the Arizona Science Center, some more contemporary Scottsdale libraries, and we have different types of furniture. We have a hexagon, we have a sunflower, one of these in the other lab, but some different spaces and areas. We'll have 3D printers in here where kids can be building, creating, doing free thinking in here as well to be able to get the most out of them. The whole thing with the STEAM mindset is it's about the learning, it's about the process, not necessarily the product. So we can really get at it in the process here with boys and girls working and giving them that space to be innovative, free thinkers. So we're really excited about this. We think this is going to help take our school to the next level.
Well, thanks, Mr. Patsoff. I can't tell you all how excited I am to see you back in your school. It's been a long haul for all of us. I'm proud of the work that we got accomplished here. There's much, much more to see, but we don't want to take up too much of your time. We hope that you like what you see here at your new Navajo campus, and we look forward to seeing you real soon. Take care. So I need to give credit to our Chaparral High School intern, Gatlin Farrington. He helped us put that together. I asked him to try and make us look as good as we could, and he jokingly said that no amount of editing could possibly do that, Mr. Rayler. So he's a good kid, and he did a really nice job for us. So I wanted to give him credit for that. As you can see, the Navajo project was not just simply a restoration. If the board had not made the decision to make those extra improvements, we would not have seen any of that. The flooring would have just been replaced in the areas where the fire had affected it. The mechanical equipment would have been the same old mechanical equipment. So real important for everyone to understand that the efforts went far, far beyond the just a restoration. It is, for all intents and purposes, a new school. So I wanted to show you the work that we are proposing in tonight's consent agenda, along with just a quick update. So I'm going to share my screen here. Give me just a second. Okay, new technology. It's kind of hard for this old guy to get it all figured out. So I just wanted to remind everyone that once upon a time, the Navajo rebuild did have a budget of over $16 million. The fire happened at an inopportune time. The community came to the district passionately, professionally, respectfully, and asked to be restored. So the trust started their work, and originally that work was just going to be the trust work. In February of 2019, I came back to the board and I asked if we could consider putting a little bit more money into the project to do what I thought.
Dennis, excuse me, we can't see your screen.
It didn't share? Okay.
No.
Oh, okay. Let's try this again. How's that? Can you see that now?
Yes, thank you.
We can see it now.
Okay, sorry about that. So again, we went back in February and asked the question, can we spend the money that we need to make this a good campus, a campus that will have a life cycle well beyond 20 years. So the $4.2 million was authorized, and as we've gone through this project and we've made the improvements, the question keeps getting asked, is this legitimately going to be a campus that we can rely on? Some of the things that we've done, and I mentioned it in the video, but all new air conditioning system. Every piece of air conditioning has been replaced. All of the electrical has been replaced. It has new fire sprinklers, a new fire alarm, a new security alarm, card access, all new flooring, all new ceiling tile, all new lighting. Basically, the shell of the building is all that we have left that is old. So as we're starting to close out this project and considering if this was a rebuild, what are some of the things that are left? What is it that we could do, should do to close this thing out to round out the project? The question was, or came across my desk as, well, what about student drop off and pickup, both from the parents' perspective and from the busing? Currently, and I'm going to switch screens again, hopefully I can keep up with myself here. So I'm jumping over to the aerial photo of Navajo. Can you see that?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay. So currently, buses drop off right here on Camelback. This is Camelback. You can see my cursor, Granite Reef. They don't have a bus loop. They don't have a bus lane. Those buses do not safely move off of the roadway. They're right there along the roadway. The queuing, the parent queuing is very short. And as we know in all of our schools, parent queuing is a challenge. As we've done rebuilds and improvements, Cheyenne, Hopi, Pima, the new Cherokee will experience it as well. We've got an agenda item for Sequoia on tonight's agenda. We're trying to improve these areas. You see here that this is a kindergarten playground. Those kindergarten students are exposed to Camelback. Another playground also exposed to Camelback. So our proposal, and I'm going to switch screens again. One second here, that one's not coming up. Okay. Can you see that screen? A drawing with a
Yes,
whole
we
bunch
can.
of stuff on it. So this one here is the bus lane that we're proposing. If you remember back to the playgrounds that I showed you that were on Camelback, obviously as part of this work, those would have to be relocated. Additionally, in this work, we've got the parent drop-off, pickup, parent queuing that we've extended out into the field. This is a very large campus with a lot of grass, so we figured we could afford to lose a little bit of grass and add in about 40 parking spaces and this parent loop. So we can get parents looped around here, and we've literally tripled our queuing for that in our proposal that's coming to you tonight. Additionally, we had to address the fire access to the campus. So in the aerial photo, and I'll bounce back to that in a moment, there are actually 4 basketball courts in this area. And so we're taking out 2 of them, leaving 2, and completely reconfiguring this area closest to the band room and the PE space. Another issue that we have, and this represents here, if you can see my cursor, this represents the gardens that we will relocate from the area where the bus loop is into this area. So centralize that component to the school so no one ever forgets about it. It's not over on the side. It's right there where all the kids are. We have some accessibility issues here, so we're going to resolve those, get the gardens put in, and then address the playgrounds. Obviously, we're moving those playgrounds. They will be in better alignment with the actual spaces where Panda is, where kindergarten is, so they'll be able to come directly out heading east along the buildings. And then lastly, the reconfiguration of the playgrounds to make it all work, all within the center core of the campus, away from the direct traffic of Camelback. So I'll go back to that. Aerial photo. And so you see again, bus loop would go here where my cursor is. All of this would be relocated into this area. And then along up top here to the north. Oops, wrong direction. Up here. And then the bus loop or the parent queuing, this would be reconfigured with the loop going back out to here and provide plenty of queuing to get the traffic off of Camelback, create some safety here. And then of course, within this scope of work, we're going to just fix up this parking lot. So when it's all said and done, Navajo's ready to go. Navajo will be a school of the future that community can count on and will be able to enjoy for many years to come. So let me share back to my presentation. Got so many things on my screen, I can barely hold them all. Okay. You see my presentation again? So
Yes, we can.
that addresses my the two consent agenda items that are in the board packet tonight, and then talking about the original expenditure and our FF&E expenditure that was done through Mojave Cooperative. And so our current ask for board authorization would total, after everything we've talked about, $5.6 million. So when we go back to that original 16 million plus rebuild, we're getting one heck of a deal at under $6 million. So I'm very happy with the work that's been done. I think that the community and the kids will absolutely love their school. I'm very sad that we won't be able to have them participate in the open house on the 18th, but we'll figure out something before this new school year begins.
Well, Dennis, thank you very much. I'm going to keep you online because I'm going to open it up for discussion for our governing board members.
Okay.
And I see that Patty Beckman has a request for comment. Patty?
Thank you. I really appreciate the presentation. I think our community is kind of chomping at the bit to know where we are. And that video, kudos to the Chaparral student, because I think that really gave everyone a nice view of what's going on at that school and is getting them really excited. Regarding the numbers, I appreciate, so you're saying we think we'll be all in at 5.6 million, correct?
Actually, we've still got one more bid that we're working on. That's the playground equipment itself. I believe our all-in is going to be 5.8, which is
Okay,
what.
that's the number you had in
my-
books, and so I
Yep.
didn't know if it had changed. Can you speak to, because when I look at this, I see a new school, which is exciting to me, because if we spend 5.8, the current value of our schools now to build are about $19-20 million. But one lingering question I had was, where on that map is that D building, and what state are we leaving that in from a, like, how much, what do you, and you may not be able to answer this, but what cost do we think it would take to get that up to where it's a usable space? And if you don't have the answers tonight, that's fine. And I'm not trying to hold you to an exact number, but just what kind of state will that be left in?
So let me pull up that aerial again. The D building that you're referring to is here, where my cursor is. And that the current physical state of that building, it is asbestos free, it is lead free, it has fire alarm and fire sprinklers throughout, all brand new, and it is essentially a shell. To turn it back into a classroom building or whatever function the district ultimately decides, between $300,000 and $500,000 is our current estimate. So Mr. Patzloff and I had gone through the school and put a teacher in every space in the existing A, B, and C. Library, music, Panda, PE, more music. All of those spaces are now filled. I think there was 1 or 2 spare classrooms. So this could, with growth, potentially be a summer build out to turn it back into classrooms, or whatever else the district decides to do with it. It's something that we could do in a short amount of time. It's something that we could do while the campus is active, because the way it's set up. So I hope that answers your question.
No, it does. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Barbara Perlberg would like to speak. Barbara, you might have to unmute because we can't hear you if you're speaking.
I knew I would do that. Knew I would forget that. Dennis, thank you, and to everyone for the sneak peek. That is a lot of fun. So I'm trying to, and I apologize if I missed it there. Did you outline, as far as the status of the cafeteria and any sort of PE rooms? Has there been change? I mean, will the students see a change in their cafeteria and
So-
PE rooms, basically? I know what we've done with the newer buildings, and I wondered what it looked like here.
So the PE space is the existing PE space. Right here, this is a fairly new building, less than 15 years old, that carries the PE, and it's got a good size space. It's certainly not like the brand new schools, not like what we're designing with Cherokee and Hopi, but it is a good size indoor space. So that's going to stay the same. Really, other than the air conditioning and the fire alarm and fire sprinkler upgrades, this one didn't get a whole lot of work. The cafeteria is here in the front of the building, and I wish I would have taken pictures. They were just finishing up the day that Mr. Patzloff and I took our video tour, and this one has gotten, again, all new air conditioning, lighting upgrades. The flooring has been replaced. The interior will be painted. The exterior was painted with the rest of the campus. So the cafeteria is in pretty good shape. Patty Bilbrey and I will be working here in the next month or so to do any additional upgrades. About the only thing that because it's an existing campus, will be difficult to get to the finish line. Is she wanted some walk-in freezer and refrigerator accommodations. That's going to be a challenge. So we're gonna keep working, see if there's something else we can do there. A lot of those dollars can come from Patty's budget, although I'm sure her budget's taking a pretty huge hit right now. So we're gonna keep working towards that. But when they walk in, there's really nothing, even the media center, all new air conditioning, the flooring will be in a couple of weeks. And so when they walk in, there's no building that hasn't been touched at all. Everything has gotten something.
Well, thank you very much, and thank you to everyone for all the work that's gone into that campus. I know the students will be really excited to get back to it. Thank you.
All right, Sandy Kravitz.
Oh, thank you, Dennis, for that video and for all the work that's gone into the building. I thought I was watching an episode of This Old House. The dramatic readings were wonderful. I was just curious, the bus lane looked rather close to the buildings, and so I don't know if that's just, because I'm looking overhead and I can't really get a sense of scale. And so I was wondering if any thought had been to move the bus lane off of Granite Reef and reconfigure the parking, or are we hemmed in to the north because of the park? I wasn't sure how far the property line is on the school.
Yes, we are actually, our property line with the park is right there at our building edge. So there were no options here. Obviously, the front is very small. No real options there. So when we looked at it, and yes, it is close to the building, but that'll all be managed with curbs and sight walls and fencing. So we won't have any issues with safety as far as that's concerned. We have the way the buses dump off, they'll be able to come in right through this main entryway here. So they'll come off of the buses and straight onto campus. And that'll also keep that traffic from engaging with parent traffic that's in the drop-off area.
Thank you.
All right. I'll just mention, Jan, is there anything you'd like to say? I know you didn't come up on request, but if you want to just.
No, I appreciate that. No comments, but I think the community will be very, very pleased with this. I think the students will be very pleased with this, and I'm very appreciative to all the work that you guys and your interns have put into making this a reality. I know, we all know the fire was really devastating at a very inopportune time, and it really upended the lives of our staff and our teachers and our students, not as much as the current situation, but it was a dramatic turn of events. So I think they're going to be very pleased to be able to really have a fresh start in August.
Okay, thank you. Dennis, I didn't ask you this question in the last couple of days when we spoke, and you may not have the exact answer. And if you don't, that's fine, but I'd still like you to get the answer for the board members maybe this week. The buildings A, B, and C will house classrooms, and I know back in 2019 we talked about that you were designing it for about 40 classrooms. What is the and I don't want to get into the, I'm wondering what the capacity is, but I don't want to get really into a discussion. If you just put, approximately anywhere from the 29 to the 24 kids in the K through 5 configuration, how many students will the buildings A through C hold? And then I'm kind of curious if at a point we grow, how many will building D hold? Given their programming, I understand there's Panda and there's other. I mean, I'm not looking for the exact number.
Off the top of my head, I do not have that answer. I would have to go back and look at Yep,
Get
absolutely.
with Matt and provide that to us. That'd be fantastic.
Yep, I will.
Okay. All right, thank you. All right, well, that is all. I want to thank you very much, Dennis, and your construction team for the hard work that you've done, and for Matt and you putting together that wonderful video. I think it really gave us a good feel for what the school's going to look like, since we can't go out there. Oh, guess what? Did I just go off? I just went off.
Nope, you're still on.
No, you're
Oh, I'm
still
still
there.
on.
You're still
My
there.
screen just went off. Okay, you can hear. All right, thank you. I'll just move on without a screen, although I'm going to have to somehow get back to see the requests. So I'll go on. Do I have a motion to? We'll go on to consent agenda then. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
So moved.
Board Member Greenberg moves. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, now I'm going. It was that Vice President Beckman?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So we'll take votes with an individual roll call. Jan Michael Greenberg,
Yay.
Sandy Kravitz,
Yay.
Barbara Perlberg,
Yay.
Patty Beckman,
Yay.
and Allison Beckham. Boy, yay. Motion carries 5-0. All right, I am going to just take a second to see if I can get back on to the regular. I'm a little nervous to do this so I don't disconnect. Maybe I'll just leave it. All right, we'll move on to action items then. So we have action item A, tentative approval of the 2020-21 capital outlay budget. Mr. Gadd, our CFO, will be presenting. Dr. Creekard, do you have any comments? Would you like to introduce Mr. Gadd?
Yes, thank you, President Beckham and members of the board. This is the approval. You have seen the basic capital outlay budget a couple of times. There is a slight change that Mr. Gadd will be talking about due to the change in the actual, what the legislature is calling skinny budget that was passed, as opposed to what was being proposed prior to that. But Mr. Gadd will explain those changes and he will go through his PowerPoint. Mr. Gadd.
Thank you. Can you everybody hear me?
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Creekard. Madam President, members of the board. As Dr. Creekard mentioned, I believe we've had 2 separate study sessions on next year's capital budgets. Everything that we showed you is in place for your approval, with one exception, and that is the one that's indicated on page 23. The DA budget, one of 5 that we looked at. That's our ongoing annual capital budget from the state. It's the district additional assistance budget. Was cut in half before the legislature finally gave approval, and it went down from 3.4 million to 1.7 million in terms of the restoration amount. So that caused us to back up then and recommend to you a reduction in some areas of the DA budget that would be necessary in which to meet the skinny budget that the legislature has approved. And those are outlined for you on the attachment. The 3.4, as I mentioned, has gone now to 1.7. We've looked at the textbook adoption area, which has gone up considerably. As you may remember in our projection, it still is more than we had this year. And Dr. Guerin is I'm sure online if we need to talk about that in terms of the specifics of social studies and language arts. The technology budget was another one that we took some funds from, $500,000. Still fairly large budget, 4.2 million. from a projected 4.7 million. Maintenance, we had a budget of 800,000. Currently, we were increasing it to $1.2 million, adding 400,000. Of that 400,000, we've recommending reducing that 400,000 to 300,000. So the total is still $100,000 more than we have the current year, but is less than what we had proposed to you earlier. And you also remember, I'm sure that I mentioned a couple of times, the district has lacked an adequate budget for maintenance of white fleet vehicles. We have over 200 of them. So we have about as many white fleet vehicles as we have buses. There's not been a plan in place to do very much with replacing those vehicles as they have aged. And so the repair and the lack of use in some cases has become major. So we have a budget of $180,000 currently. We've increased it to $230,000. That still represents a reduction of $200,000 from the $430,000 we had previously recommended. So we were trying to do a 2-year replacement schedule in 1 year. We now are back to a 1-year replacement schedule, and it's totaling approximately $200,000 a year. So those are the 4 changes that we are recommending to you that amount to this $1.7 million reduction that's necessary from the 2 proposals that you've previously seen. Also included in your packet on page 26 is a full the budget that we now have we now are recommending to you. It has a DA reduction in it that represents what the legislature has previously approved. We have not altered the capital override, adjacent ways bond, or school plant budgets that are also a part of this capital budget approval agenda item. If you have any questions, I will try to answer them for you.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Gadd. Board members, do you have any questions? I see Patty Beckman.
Could you just speak or have Dr. Guerin speak to? That's a significant reduction, and maybe I missed it here, from the textbook adoption. What are we not having, going from 2.2 to 1.5?
I can answer that. Thank you for Dr. Guerin, who I don't believe is online. I excused her, but originally, because of the huge amount of money of the full restoration of the DAA, we were being a little ambitious in doing both the English language arts adoption and a social studies adoption. So what we will cut with the $700,000 reduction, we will just put the social studies adoption off another year. It really makes more sense staff-wise to do 1 adoption a year rather than 2 in a year. And with the new social studies standards, it gives the teachers the ability to work through those standards a little better before they adopt material. So to me, it all makes sense. Sometimes you come up with a cut and have to make cuts, and then you look back at it and say, oh, well, this is a much more reasonable work project at any rate. So we would be pushing off the social studies adoption a year.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that. I just wanted to make sure that people understood that it's not something that was necessarily being cut. It was just being postponed per se. Okay, thank you.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
All right. Any other board members have questions for Mr. Gadd? All right. Well, if not, do I have a motion to approve action item A as presented?
So moved.
Board member Greenberg moves. Do I have a second?
Second,
That was Barbara?
yes.
Okay. Board member Proberg seconds. Any further discussion? If not, okay, we'll have a vote, taking on an individual roll call. Jan Michael Greenberg,
Yay.
Sandy Kravitz,
Yay.
Barbara Proberg,
Yay.
Vice President Patty Beckman,
Yay.
and Allison Beckham. Yes, yay. Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gadd. And for
Thank you.
from your financial team also.
Thank you.
Action item B, approval of superintendent's quarterly expectations and priorities for the fourth quarter. Dr. Krieger, would you please summarize the third quarter expectation priorities and present your fourth quarter recommendations?
Yes, thank you, President Beckham and members of the board. For the third quarter, there were really 6 priorities because there were some holdovers, I believe, from the past. So the first one, staffing for all schools, that's a major priority in the third quarter of the year, and that was completed. It was a better process this year than last year, as Dr. Bowman became familiar with not only the district from last year, so the staffing remained pretty much the same at every school with maybe some minor changes here and there. But that's due to our virtually flat enrollment this year from last year, and allowed us to keep those staff members. So that was completed. The request for budget meetings for strategies on the budget process, those meetings were held with 2 community meetings were held, as well as discussions held throughout the quarter with administrators groups and teacher groups, both in superintendent's liaison and with meeting with SEA leadership. We had, from that came increases to program expenditures, also an increase in counseling and social work and those type of services, which is still being worked on at the individual sites, and as to what that looks like at each site. But with the passage of the proposed budget, we are moving forward with looking at those services at the schools. So through all of that, and then of course the capital budget that you just approved. So number 2 was also completed. The third one, background data collected. When I met with the principals from the Coronado learning community to talk about the meetings that we would hold for information, both our giving information as well as receiving information from the community, the principals asked that we postpone those meetings and the decision till the fall of 2020 due to, and now it seems like they had great insight, that they were prescient in knowing that we would be where we are this spring. So they asked to not put communities in an uproar in the fall of 2020, since none of the recommendations would take place till the fall of 21 when HOCOM reopens and shifting goes on. In the meantime, I did investigate software programs that can be used to help in that endeavor, and so we have there's some excellent new things out on the market now that helps us move city blocks by city blocks around from one area to another, and can tell you exactly how many students of ours, whether they are gifted students, ELL students, special ed students, 504 students, whatever the ratio is, very, very high tech. So we have that waiting. And then we are also at Dr. Menzel's request, we are sending him the demographic studies from 2018 and the update from 2019. So he will receive that. Mr. Gadd just sent those to me on electronic form today. So that will go out. So that background information is still going on at the leadership level. So, but that will be, and Dr. Menzel knows that is an issue for the fall of 2020. The partnerships that we have with ASU, the Coronado Success Initiative and the Charros is continuing. We have we believe made some real progress in the commitment for the Charros in terms of social emotional learning support and ASU support in training teachers throughout the Coronado complex. So the Coronado Success Initiative is not just about Coronado High School, but the Coronado complex. So that is still ongoing, and there have not been any meetings since we closed the school. We will have to start those up again. We will, but it is ongoing. The completion of the certified handbook, Dr. Bowman presented me a copy of the completed certified handbook in January, so that is completed. And the discussion of the internal auditor, I met with Mr. Greenberg, and we talked some more about that. It's still a discussion that we will have in terms of what we do with that position, and I will involve Dr. Menzel in that discussion as well. So that's the priorities from the third quarter. And for the fourth quarter, I am proposing. You want questions first?
I don't mean to interrupt you, but I would like to maybe ask the board members if they have any questions for you before we move on to the fourth quarter. Is that all right?
Absolutely.
Okay, I just think it'd be easier. So governing board members, if you have any questions regarding Dr. Krieger's summary and completion of last quarter's expectations and priorities, please go ahead and request. Okay, all right, we'll move on. Thank you for letting me interrupt you.
Oh, not a problem. So for the third quarter goals, I've listed three. One, an update of the thematic goal playbook. We've had that in the planning for the fourth quarter for some time to do that. I believe we'll take a look at that, and then in transition with Dr. Menzel, he and I will talk about what his plans are, where to go with that, or to initiate a new long-range planning vehicle, whatever his experience is and whatever he likes. But we will complete this year with an update of those goals and what we have done. And secondly, the transition with the new superintendent is a major priority, both for me and for Dr. Menzel. We have been meeting every Wednesday afternoon. We met by phone the first several, and the last couple now with video, which is nice, because in his basement where he sits for his meetings, behind his wall, and I don't know if you saw that in your meetings with him or not, he had a big picture of a desert scene in Arizona, getting ready to come out here. So that was great. But that transition to be as smooth as possible is a goal that we both have. An update on that, he has asked cabinet members for their resume, and then a chance to meet individually with them. And he wanted to see the resumes so he can have more pointed and contextual questions for them, and not have to start out just from scratch. And those have all been supplied to Dr. Menzel. And then the third one I added just prior to our closing, but the successful completion of the school year with the online learning. It obviously is taking a great deal of our time, as it should, and I just felt it just really needed to be on the priority list, so that you and the community who looks at those things understand that this is a top priority, that the kids have a valuable and meaningful experience, while at the same time maintaining the many different services that we provide for students, everything from meals to counseling services to connections and engagement. And so those are the three that I have for this fourth quarter.
I'm sorry, my phone just rang.
Sure.
Thank you very much. And is there any discussions from the board members? And yes, I see some. Patty Beckman.
I think it's Barbara
I
Pearl.
think it's
That
muted.
was Allison, that was from last time. I don't have any questions.
Oh, okay. Then,
Barbara.
well, or is that last time? Barbara?
No, yeah, I was just a little slow when you asked earlier. I was a little slow in my typing, so I just want to go back a little bit to that first section.
Oh, okay,
Real
great.
briefly. So appreciate that. Thank you. And thank you, Dr. Kriegard. For this review, I wanted to go back to that completion of certified handbook and just clarify that with the completion of the certified handbook, if I'm correct, we have the classified and administration handbooks completed as well.
The administrator handbook is still being worked on. That was put on hold. There were initial meetings that were held, but I have not received a finished copy of that. I think that was put on hold during staffing time which takes a lot of time of both the principals and HR, and then of course now. So that will be something we will continue to work on as the last one. Yes.
But there is a classified handbook that's complete.
Yes,
and,
that was completed first. Yes.
And so that's what I thought. I thought administrators have been done as well, but so that's in the works still. Certified classified handbooks all have been provided to staff. Is that correct?
I would have to ask Dr. Bowman what was the disbursement. I think they were provided online. They were told that in our teacher talk and those weekly communication devices that they were told that those handbooks are online through the website. But I will certainly double check and let you know.
Okay, that's great. And as long as we're following up, I'd love to just know if our employees kind of know where to go for that information once they go there, but still have questions. What is the protocol for them to follow if the handbook doesn't answer their questions initially?
Then I would send them to one of the directors of in HR, Amy Goff or Amy Eveleth. Amy Goff if it's classified, Amy Eveleth if it's a certified question.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to have that clarification and just confirm that our staff knows where to go with their questions. Because
Okay.
I know we're very proud of the handbooks and both, especially the certified, how they came about and all the work that went into them with staff and the committee that did so much work on it. So just appreciate it all.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and also Barbara, I think you asked where can they find them now, and I believe it's the iDrive that all the employees have access to on the computer on their website is the iDrive. And then to follow up, just the administrative handbook, will that be completed then by June?
That I don't know. I would like to talk to Dr. Bowman about that to see what his plans are. There have been some pretty major developments through this closure and so forth that he's also dealing with, because now, as you can imagine, when it's difficult for principals to go in and actually see what teachers are doing other than online, so that throws a whole nother human resources wrinkle into it. But I will talk to him, and as I said, I will get back to you when you can expect that one, as well as the answer to Barbara's questions.
All right, great, thank you. Any other questions from board members for Dr. Kriegard? Or any other discussion points somebody might want to bring up before we actually vote on this approval? All right, I'll just let you know I'm not seeing any chats. So we'll move on to approving action item B. Do I have a motion to approve action item B as presented?
So moved.
And that was board member Kravitz?
Correct.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, board member Greenberg. Votes will be taken on individual roll call. Jan Michael Greenberg,
Yay.
Sandy Kravitz,
Yay.
Barbara Perlberg,
Yay.
Vice President Patty Beckman,
Yay.
and Allison Beckham. Yay. Motion passes 5-0. We will move on to action item C, an approval of a waiver of General Counsel mid-year review for 2019-2020. According to SUSD policy BDG, the governing board and General Counsel will have a mid-year review. Given the time constraints and the postponement of the previously scheduled mid-year evaluation executive session, and that the formal year-end review is within the next 3 months, it is recommended to waive the formal mid-year review. We'll state that General Counsel Michelle Marshall provided the governing board members with a written progress report on March 13th, 2020, and each member had the opportunity to respond to Ms. Marshall individually. Dr. Krieger provided me his comments and evaluation, and I spoke with Ms. Marshall last week. We recognize and fully intend to complete the year-end evaluation by the June date, which is stated in policy BDG. Is there any discussion for this waiver? And I don't know, is Michelle Marshall available if she wanted to
I
make
am
any
here.
comment?
I am here. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. So if you'd like to make some comments.
Thank you, Madam President. You really stole my thunder. You took the words right out of my mouth. I believe we've had an opportunity for board members to see my progress on the goals. If anybody, it might be beneficial to show the public. I can share my screen here. The part of the policy that we're talking about. Let me show this. Can you see the policy now? Okay.
Yes, it is up. It is
so
up.
This is policy BDG called school attorney. And as part of this policy, it shall evaluate the performance of the general counsel. And this first bullet point here, that it shall include an informal mid-year review. So that is the part that it just looked like we should go ahead and ask the board to waive that requirement. I think we've kind of met it informally anyway. And before we know it, we'll be doing the final review. And, you know, circumstances just were that we didn't get to the mid-year this year. I'd be happy to answer any questions anyone might have.
Okay, does anybody have any questions? Okay. Oh, is there somebody? Okay. I would just say, even though we didn't meet an executive session, I would agree with Ms. Marshall that we did kind of do it was informal, but it was a mid-year review that everybody had the opportunity to talk with you about it. So do I have a motion to approve action item C, the waiver as presented?
So moved.
Board Member Kravitz so moves. Do I have a second?
Second.
Board Member Greenberg seconds. And since I heard kind of a little bit of a rumbling, I'll just add, is there any further discussion?
Did we lose Allison?
You might have.
Discussion? I'm still here. Am I
There
back?
you are. You're back. There you are. You're back.
I don't know where did I get through a second?
You did.
Yeah.
I did. Okay. So I'll move on to the individual roll call. Jan Michael Greenberg,
Yay.
Sandy Kravitz,
Yay.
Barbara Perlberg,
Yay.
Vice President Patty Beckman,
Yay.
and Allison Beckham. Yay. Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. Our business for tonight is complete, so I move to adjourn this special meeting of the governing board. Do I have a second?
A second?
Board Member Perlberg seconds. Individual roll call. Jan Michael Greenberg.
Yay.
Sandy Kravitz.
Yay.
Barbara Perlberg.
Yay.
Vice President Betty Beckman.
Yay.
And Allison Beckham. Yay. Motion carries 5-0. This special meeting of the governing board. Oh, I have one thing I want to say. I want to thank Debbie Spalding, Jonathan, Kyle, and the whole IT team for bringing our meetings online in a very short period of time. I hope that it worked because we will be having our next meeting online using the same format unless something changes. So thank you very much. You guys did an excellent job, and your support we've just really appreciated it. This special meeting of the governing board on April 7th, 2020 is adjourned at 6:33 p.m.
Thank you, Allison.
Thank
Thank
you.
Thank
Stay
you so much.
healthy.
Thank you. Thank you. Allison, I have one quick question. When you
Allison.
Thank you.
Thank
Stay
you so much.
healthy.
Thank you. Allison, I have one quick question.
Allison.
Thank you.
Thank
Stay
you so much.
healthy.
Thank you. Allison, I have one quick question.